All right. It's no, no, it's Tuesday. It's 5:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we're going to not prep some Dungeons and Dragons. We're going to start learning how to play Pathfinder 2E. Yeah, I don't want anybody saying that I'm jumping on the bandwagon here because, like, we record everything over here, and yeah, I kind of made the decision to try out Pathfinder before all the shit hit the fan. Admittedly, only by like a week, but hey, whatever. I know I did not have any inside information on that. I was just bored with 5th edition, having played 5e since it was in playtesting and running like 5 games a week for 10 years or whatever. It's time for something fresh, something new. Am I concerned that learning this is a waste of my time because what if and oh no, terrible stuff and then this might happen and that might happen? Listen. We're not gonna live in fear, okay? Also, this system has a lot of cool stuff, and so even if we never end up playing it, I want to at least learn about it. I want to understand what makes it tick. I want to understand what makes people so excited about it. The problem is, I am very stupid. So, I'm gonna need as much help as possible. Fortunately, I have found what I think is the most Fisher Price, my first time Pathfinder 2E baby guide for babies, including illustrations that I could find guide. So I'm going to start with this. I know there's a lot of great videos out there. There's a lot of great channels. I am aware of who No Nat Ones is. He's some kind of Jesus Christ figure amongst the Pathfinder players. I have watched a bunch of his videos. I have a lot of I have a lot of knowledge going into this, but what I don't have is the physical constitution necessary to read a 500-page rulebook. But I do have said rulebook right here. Okay? Okay? So I have the book. I have opened the book. I have looked inside. I have marveled at its beauty and complexity. It is a fantastic tome of knowledge. I think Paizo sent me both a physical copy of this game to look at and also a digital copy of the game, and I have been a real butthole, and I have not looked at it. And I think they sent it to me like 2 years ago, and I never bothered to look at it. But they are some stand-up peeps, so no hard feelings. Better late than never, etc., etc. So here at the school, we're going to play Skyrim in the background so that we don't get any audio strikes because I guess when you sell your game 14 different times, you have enough money that you don't have to audio strike your music. Secondly, we're going to have this document open. I will go ahead and share this document on my Discord moving forward so that people can use the commenting tool to make suggestions and add stuff. And this will be where I record my notes as I am learning the system, if I even remember to record any notes. So rather than read the 500-page book cover to cover, I wanted to get like the rawest ass stuff. So we're starting with simply Pathfinder 2 2nd edition. I'll go ahead and post that link into chat. It should appear in all of the different channels. I might need to turn down the music though, because it's a little loud. Hold on. All right. So let's see. We will begin. Simply rules, actions. All right. There is a symbol for actions. It is a diamond with a little baby diamond. It also looks like, sort of like a square Pac-Man is eating a square Pac-Man pellet, I guess. And apparently this symbol, they use a lot of symbols in the game. And so we will need to learn this, this complex second alphabet, as it were. No, there's not really that many symbols. So this is the action icon. This means that an activity will take 1 Pac-Man, 2 Pac-Mans, and the very spicy 3 Pac-Man or human centipede Pac-Man. This is a free action, which is to say, I don't know, I don't want to make this political. White Pac-Man, I guess. Clear Pac-Man, Ghost Pac-Man. There we go. These could be used like an action during a turn without using up an action. Us ancients would call this a free action. Those of us from the olden days that helped that lion guy fight the witch in the wardrobe and all that. We would call this. Oh wait, they call it a free action also. Nice. These could be used like an action during a turn without using up an action. Yeah, we had those back in the day. Participants in an encounter can have one free action per trigger, or freely if there is no trigger. That's important to note. Things that we know have triggers in 5th edition would be reactions, right? And then we have the reaction icon, which kind of looks like a little swoopy arrow. It's pretty cute. This is a reaction icon. Participants in an encounter can use a reaction once per round, even when it's not their turn, so long as the trigger is met. Alright, that seems pretty straightforward. Checks and DCs. Checks are when a player or GM assigns a d20 to see if a task succeeds or fails, of course. Difficulty class, DC, is the number that a check must meet to succeed. To make a check, you roll a d20, you add any modifiers or penalties and compare the results with the DC. Sometimes rolls can critically succeed or critically fail. This is called the degree of success, and that is in capital letters, so I'm assuming that degrees of success are important. Alright. Let's see. I take notes in bullets because I'm a weirdo. Rolling a 1 on the d20 will make the degree of success go down 1 bracket. I did not know that. Is that real? Okay. And then rolling a 20 on the d20 will make the degree of success go up 1 bracket. Okay. But also, a check 10 or more below the DC is a critical failure, and a check below the DC is a failure. A check that meets the DC is a success, and then a check 10 or more above the DC is a critical success. Is that like raw? Like that the 1 and the 20 like kick things up and down a degree? Because I hadn't heard that until just now. Alright. So nat 1 drops a degree. Nat 20 raises a degree. Okay. Let's see. Traits. Traits help show common rules for abilities, spells, creatures, items, and game mechanics. For example, the spells Burning Hands and Scorching Ray both have the fire trait. That means, oh no, are there little symbols for this too? Are there like Pokemon symbols, or is this just because it's a comic? Oh no, maybe I've made a mistake here. The spells Burning Hands and Scorching Hands both have fire. That means both spells share the rules for fire trait. The Leshy Ancestry has the uncommon, Leshy, and plant traits. This shows the Leshy's rarity, creature type, and that it is a plant. Okay, checks out. I'm familiar with keywords. I play the Magic the Gathering, and I used to play the 4th edition. 4th edition and Magic are both heavy duty on the keywords. I think I could figure this out. Alright, we go down to items. Drawing a worn item or changing how you're holding an item usually requires you to use an interact action. Stowed items take more time to interact. I'm sure that probably gets hand waved away, just like in Dungeons & Dragons, but we'll see. An item's level shows what level of adventurer. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. There we go. Oh, that's a lot. Okay. An item's level shows what level of adventurer the item is best suited for and how complex the item is. I am also familiar with item levels. I have played 4th edition. I'm going to probably say I've played 4th edition about 4,000 times today, but you know, there's a little bit of 4th edition in here, if you know what I mean. And then, of course, you play any video games with level-locked items and things like that. All items have a hardness value, don't we all? This is how much damage an item must take before its hit points go down. Okay. An item is broken when its hit points go down to its broken threshold, its BT. Alright, so let's see. Items. Let's see. Have levels. Let's see. Have hardness. Have hit points. Can break. Alright. Once an item's hit points reach 0, the item is destroyed. and cannot be repaired. Oh. Okay. Item is broken when citizens going to broken threshold. Okay, so they have a bloodied value. Have a bloodied value equals their BT broken threshold. Seems simple enough. Size and space. Alright. 1 square of space is equal to 5 feet. Creatures and objects of different sizes occupy different amounts of space. Okay, I'm familiar with this. A tiny creature takes up less than 5 feet. You can have 4 in 1 square, sometimes more. A small creature still, for whatever dumbass reason, takes up 5 feet. A medium creature takes up 5 feet. A large creature spontaneously suddenly takes up 10 feet. A huge creature takes up 15 feet. And a gargantuan creature takes up 20 or more feet. Welp, we're gonna immediately... I said I would never house rule Pathfinder until I learned the whole system, but we're gonna immediately house rule additional size. Add more sizes. HP. Alright, there we go. Let's go to reach. Reach is how far you can physically reach with your body or your weapon. Melee strikes rely on reach. Creatures that are tall typically have a longer reach than creatures that are long. Okay. Okay. Yeah, sure. All right. Here are the general reaches for creature sizes, but reach could vary between a creature's attacks. Okay, I'm familiar with all this shit. Huge creatures generally have a reach of 15 feet. Oh, do they? Though long creatures may have a reach of 10 feet. Okay, I maybe don't know this. Tiny creatures have a reach of 0, sure. Small and medium have 5. Large creature generally have a reach of 10 feet. Oh, though long creatures may only have a reach of 5 feet. And gargantuan creatures generally have a reach of 20 feet. Well, that's news to me. Sounds like big creatures have much better range. Much better reach. That's pretty cool. So let's go to strikes. Look, it's Pac-Man again. So striking takes 1 action. So Pac-Man, 1 action. Striking more than once in a turn will give multiple attack penalties. Your first attack will not have a multiple attack penalty, but your second attack is -5. And your third attack is -10. So unless you're fighting like the easiest thing in the entire world, you're probably never actually going to make 3 melee strikes in a turn. In fact, this is apparently a rookie mistake that happens all the time. So don't get super horny that you're going to have 3 attacks at first level, because you're not going to hit. It's dumb. You could try. You certainly try, but it's probably not going to happen. I love these little illustrations too. Attacking. To strike with a melee weapon, roll to see if you hit the target. Here is the mathematics at work. You will roll a 1d20. Then you will add your strength modifier. Some weapons have traits that let you use other ability modifiers. You will add your proficiency bonus. And by the way, your proficiency bonus is equal to your level, which is kind of wild. Easy to keep track of, but kind of wild. Then any and all other bonuses, and then any and all other penalties. You do that math, and you don't really have to because the VTT is going to do the math for you, but you know. Compare the results against the target's armor class, their AC. If the result is below the target's armor class, it misses. If the attack roll is equal to the target's armor class, it hits. If the result is 10 or more than the target's armor class, the strike critically hits. I will note that there is no critical failure or whatever for attacks. You see how up above there was 4 different things, but here there's only 3 different things. So that's noteworthy. Attack rolls follow the degrees of success rules. Well, sort of, but they don't have missing by 10 penalty, so I don't know. What do you mean, oh what? What's going on, Dom? You mean about the proficiency bonus? I think we're a little out of sync, but yeah. It's some pretty cool stuff. Damaging. If the strike hits the target, roll for damage. You'll roll the damage die listed for the weapon. You will add your strength modifier, you will add any other bonuses, and then you will subtract any penalties. If the strike was a critical hit, the damage is doubled. And I am aware of this. That doesn't mean that the damage dice are doubled. That doesn't mean that the strength bonus is doubled. That means that the final number, so after you do all the math here, hold on. So with the damage, right? With the damage, if you get a nat 20, or you hit by 10 or more, you add all these guys up, and if the total is, say, 13 damage, you actually did 26 damage. Ba-bam. That's how it works. That's pretty good. I like that. I like that a lot. So, very simple, very nice. Also, look at this. You have a much better chance of critically hitting weaker opponents than, normal. So if you're fighting a bunch of weaker stuff, there's a good chance you're going to be critically hitting that stuff and doing double damage. The other thing to keep in mind, and this is jumping ahead a little bit, is that Fireball could do a critical hit. It could do double damage. If they critically fail their saving throw, you would actually deal double Fireball damage to the target. It starts to get pretty cool pretty fast. Very, very exciting. All right. So we've got range. Range is how far an effect can occur. Thrown and ranged weapons have a range increment. Ranged attacks take penalties as they go farther away. Now, here is some sad feels. In in 5th edition, we have short range and long range. It's because, you're done, right? If you're in the short range, the attack's fine. If you're in the long range, it's a disadvantage. Most DMs never run a map big enough that long range becomes an issue because everybody just uses a goddamn longbow. But then, there's a million ways to get rid of the penalties and all that kind of stuff. This is a bit more complicated. So weapons can have multiple tiers, right? So a short bow, for example, has a range of 60 feet. And then the attacker gets a -2 penalty for every 60 feet after the first range increment, up to a -10 penalty. So attacks 6 times further than the weapon's range are impossible. So there you go. It's pretty cool because it means that if you have a dagger and you want to throw that dagger, you could throw that dagger real far, but you're going to have like a -6 attack penalty if you try to throw it really far. But I like that because it makes all ranged attacks feel a little bit better. I don't know. I like it. Alright, so going down here to ranged strikes. You got Pac-Man again. That means it's an action. Striking takes 1 action. Striking more than once in a turn will give you a multiple attack penalty, just like we discussed. 1 Pac-Man, 2 Pac-Man, 3 Pac-Man. And this illustration shows how the accuracy continues to go down. Again, unless you're fighting some incredibly weak stuff, you're probably not going to just make 3 ranged attacks in a turn. Like, it's probably not going to happen because you're unlikely to hit opponents of your level if you have a -10 to the attack roll. Alright, attacking. To strike with a ranged weapon roll, to see if you hit the target first. So same deal, except the default here is dexterity. I noticed there's no note here like there was for the melee attack that said maybe you could use a different modifier. So I wonder if this is just oversimplified or what, or if ranged attacks really are just keyed to dexterity. Again, there's degrees of success, but only in the positive way. There's no way to critically fumble or critically fail a ranged attack. You calculate damage the same way. You double it for the crit. All right, moving on to conditions. We could probably spend an entire hour plus just talking about conditions. So let's just talk about what it's got right here. Conditions change a character or object's physical or mental state. Condition effects last until the duration ends, they are removed, or their terms are resolved. Some conditions override and suppress other conditions. The overridden condition's duration continues while suppressed. Condition values show the severity of a condition's bonuses or penalties. The condition ends if the value is reduced to 0. So there's a lot of good eats here. All right. Think think like MMO, right? Think like video game thoughts here. You can essentially treat the numbers here as like stacks of that particular condition, and they all have rules for how those numbers go down. And it's cool because when you first get affected by something, you might be completely shut down. And then by your second round, you're starting to kind of get control of your character again. And then by the third round, you might be almost back to normal. And then by the fourth round, you're back to normal. Rather than do or die, you're paralyzed, you can't do anything. It might be the paralysis gets weaker and weaker as you move closer and closer to recovery. So I find it to be a lot more exciting and a lot more interesting than the 5e conditions. There are a lot of conditions. But if you're playing on Foundry VTT, all of the conditions are built in, and every time you add a condition, there's a little pop-up, and it explains exactly what the condition does, which is pretty cool. And again, there's so many conditions that it would be like its own hour block of study just to go over those. And we're just going to see how far through this document we can make it today. All right, so we go to game modes. There are 3 modes of gameplay: encounter mode, exploration mode, and downtime mode. Seems pretty self-explanatory, but let's explain it anyways. Encounter mode. Encounter mode starts for everyone when anyone enters an encounter. Time is decided into rounds roughly 6 seconds long. Notice they say roughly, right? Don't overstress it. Most participants will have 3 actions. Participants can include player characters, non-player characters, and hazards. So I love that hazards are mentioned. This feels very 4th edition, right? So when I would play 4th edition, one of the things I loved is that almost every encounter had interactable terrain or some sort of hazard or some sort of thing happening in the environment that allowed you to either interact with it actively or try to avoid it interacting with you. Is very exciting. Exploration mode. Time in exploration mode is free form. It can be minutes, hours, or even days. The GM determines how much time passes for activities. Activities for exploration mode can include traveling, role-playing, overcoming obstacles, rest, and daily preparation. And then finally, the third mode is downtime mode, usually played as long forms of time, with wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey cutscenes, such as day by day or over the course of a week. Settings are relatively safe, such as cities or settlements. Some might even call them sanctuaries, huh? Activities for downtime mode can include long-term resting, retraining, earning income, and forming connections. All that sounds very, very exciting. So, very cool, simple overview of what we're looking at going into this. So, yeah, simply Pathfinder. Cool. And then they do like a comic every day where they just randomly pick something from Pathfinder and they make like a comic explaining that one particular thing about it. It's pretty neat. All right. So let's go into, let's see. We've got Pathfinder2easy.com, which allegedly is a pretty useful site for looking things over. So we could check this out. Let's see. Wow. Okay. That is a lot, but we're going to do it. We will be brave. Okay, so let's be brave together. All right, I'm going to go ahead and post this link over here, and we're going to go Easy Tree is the next one that we're going to be studying. That's the link for it. I'll put it over here. I wrote East Tree because dyslexia, but whatever. All right, here we go. Pathfinder 2 Easy Tree Basic Action Table. Now, I'm a little concerned because they have this section called Adventure, and I guess that means that there are special actions specifically to different adventures, which is kind of wild. Um, and I'm assuming that I don't need to learn those unless I'm running that particular adventure, but wow. How thorough is it that they would compile them all here for us to look at? All right, so these are the basic actions that make up gameplay in the world. So remember the symbols that we learned. It's okay because you can mouse over them and they will remind you what they are. So if you see a white Pac-Man, it means it is a free action. If you see a, I guess, black Pac-Man, it means it is a single action. If you see one Pac-Man biting another Pac-Man's butt, it's 2 actions. And if you see a human centipede, it's 3 actions. If you see a weird swoopy arrow moon thing, that means it's a reaction. And I think that pretty much covers it. Let's get in there. All right, aid. You may you try to help your ally with a task. All right, that seems pretty good. Is there more detail to it? Oh, there certainly is. All right, trigger. An ally is about to use an action that requires a skill check or attack roll. Requirements: the ally is willing to accept your aid, and I like that. And you have prepared to help. You try to help your ally with a task. To use this reaction, you must first prepare to help. So, okay. Usually, by using an action during that turn, you must explain to the GM exactly how you're trying to help, and they determine whether you can aid your ally. So, from what oh, thank you. Roll for drunkage. So, what I'm thinking is, my understanding here, is that the help action from 5th edition does not require a reaction, but the Pathfinder 2 version, aid, requires your action and then your reaction, because you have to prepare to help somebody and then you actually have to help them, which makes it a lot more costly, right, than normal, in my opinion, because you only get 1 reaction. You do get 3 actions though, so it's not too bad. I think it's important for it to use your reaction, otherwise you could technically use aid, what, like 3 times, and that would be kind of silly. Okay. So let's see. To use this reaction, you must prepare to help, usually by using an action on your turn. You must explain to the GM exactly how you're trying to help, and they determine whether you can aid your ally. Oh, so it's less about you could just automatically do it, and it's less about hard-ass DM saying you have to have proficiency, and it's more about good role-playing and bullshitting about why you're able to aid. When you use your aid reaction, attempt a skill check or attack roll of a type decided by the GM. The typical DC is 20, hot damn, but the GM might adjust the DC for a particularly hard or easy task. Is that normal to be DC 20? That seems really high. All right. The GM can add any relevant traits to your preparatory action or to your aid reaction, depending on the situation, or even allow you to aid checks other than skill checks and attack rolls. Oh, that's pretty nice. Critical success. If you critically succeed, so you get a nat 20 or you succeed by 10 or more, so I guess you roll a fucking 30, you grant your ally a +2 circumstance bonus to the triggering check. If you're a master with the check you attempted, what? The bonus is +3, and if you're legendary, it's +4. So don't get confused here. When it's saying, are you a master, and are you legendary, you can actually, like, rank up your skills. So in 5th edition land, we would call that, like, expertise, right? But over here, you can go, like, even further than expertise. You can get even better at something than expert. You can become legendary at it. So that's all that's referring to right there. And this is a lot more, like, mitigated than just doubling your proficiency bonus, in my opinion. Success. You grant your ally a +1 circumstance bonus to the triggering check. So you did all of that work. You used an action out of you used 1/3 of your action economy. You used your only reaction. You had to bullshit to the GM why it was possible, and then you had to do the check at a DC 20. And then if you did succeed at it, you give them a +1 bonus. What the fuck? That's a lot. Yeah. Dented pockets. That's a good point. It's kind of weird that critical success is variable result based on your training. Well, here's the thing. Here's my take on it. Okay. They're trying to discourage untrained people from trying to help people, right? Like, it makes sense for someone who's good at something to help someone else do it. It doesn't make sense for, like, some random ass person who has no idea what you're doing to try to help you. And that's basically raw 5th edition, right? Anybody can help anybody else do anything. It's the dumbest thing in the whole world. So this is saying that, like, isn't a DC 20 success like it to a DC 10 in 5e? I think so. Yeah, yeah. The number's a lot higher. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly. 8, yeah, they'd be using 8 all the time. Now, here's the thing. Like, you think to yourself, well, it's still worth it. Maybe not. Because if they get a critical failure to assist you, they actually give you a -1 to your check. So my takeaway here is that the investment of action economy into aid, you would really only want to aid somebody if you really needed one particular person to make the roll, if you were good enough that you weren't going to jeopardize their chances of doing it, and also if you were better at it than they were, but they still for some reason needed to make the check. Those all seem like reasons that you would go ahead and do that. Very, very interesting, and kind of weird. All right, arrest a fall. You attempt an acrobatics check to slow your fall. So this is apparently something anybody can do, not just monks. So the trigger for this reaction, because it's a swoopy moon with a little arrow, is you fall. Requirements, you have a fly speed. What the fuck? Why would you fall if you have a fly speed? Oh, I guess if you were like knocked prone or something in the air and you started to fall, or if you were like not flying at the time and you were knocked off of something. Okay, okay, okay. So this is a pretty specialized action. You have to have a fly speed. You have to be falling. You may attempt an acrobatics check to slow your fall. The DC is typically 15, but it might be higher due to air turbulence or other circumstances. You fall gently, taking no damage from the fall. Okay, that's kind of cool. So it's not for everybody, including monks. It's for flying people to sort of represent like a natural like feather fall or something like that. But it's only for people that could actually get their body positioned correctly, aka acrobatics, to slow down the fall. Okay, that's pretty well thought out. That's pretty good. All right, avert your gaze is an actual action. You don't just say, I avert my gaze. It's an actual action. All right. One Pac-Man will purchase you avert gaze. You avert your gaze from danger. You gain a +2 circumstance bonus to saves against... Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You avert your gaze from danger. You gain a +2 circumstance bonus to saves against visual abilities that require you to look at a creature or object, such as Medusa's petrifying gaze. Your gaze remains averted until the start of your next turn. So, this is not the same as 5th edition D&D fighting a Medusa, where you would blind yourself, right? You close your eyes, you're blind for the whole round. You have one of the worst stats effects in 5th edition, which is blindness. You're just literally saying, I try not to look. I try not to look. And by trying not to look, you lose 33% of your action economy. That's pretty brilliant design. I think that's pretty brilliant design. Yeah, because you still are looking around. You're still living your life. You're still doing things, but you're spending some of your attention to try not to look. That's really well done. No, I think this is really good. My question is, could I do it 3 times in a turn to get a +6 bonus? I don't actually know. I don't know if bonuses stack or not. Do circumstance bonuses stack? Let's see. Pathfinder 2, do circumstance bonuses stack? Circumstance bonuses stack with all other bonuses, including other circumstance bonuses. What? So you could avert your gaze 3 times if you wanted to, but somehow not be blind. That's pretty cool. Okay. I like that. That's really good. Okay. All right, next up is burrow. This is a type of movement, but it is also an action. It costs 1 Pac-Man to burrow. The tag, the trait, is that it is a move. I like that. Requirements: you must have a burrow speed. You dig your way through dirt, sand, and other similar loose material at a rate up to your burrow speed. You can't burrow through rock or other substances denser than dirt unless you have an ability that allows you to do so. Huh. I like the idea that when you are burrowing through the earth, it takes a bit more effort, 33% of your action economy, than if you were just walking on land. Okay. That seems like pretty good design. Alright, next up is crawl. Crawl is another type of move. You must be prone to crawl, and your speed must still be at least 10 feet. You move 5 feet by crawling and continue to stay prone. Oh damn, crawling is really rough. So in 5th edition D&D, when you are crawling, you just move at half your speed. But in Pathfinder, when you're crawling, it's real bad. Yeah, that's crazy. So every action you spend will only give you 5 feet of movement, and you will continue to stay prone. Okay. Delay. This is a free action. See, White Pac-Man. You wait for the right moment to act. Let's see. Yeah, I know that walking your normal speed takes 33% of your action, but like crawling is like hella slow. You know what I mean? All right, let's see. Delay. Trigger. Your turn begins. You wait for the right moment to act. The rest of your turn doesn't happen yet. Instead, you're removed from the initiative order. Whoosh. You can return to the initiative order as a free action triggered by the end of any other creature's turn. Here's the thing. This permanently changes your initiative to the new position. You can't use reactions until you return to the initiative order. If you delay an entire round without returning to the initiative orders, the actions from the delayed turn are lost, your initiative doesn't change, and your next turn occurs at your original position. So you could never use this to get to the top of the initiative. That's very interesting. So, like, if you are slow, you're just going to be slow. Like, you're not going to have a way to get to the top of the initiative. I like that. Um, let's see. When you delay, any persistent damage or other negative effects that normally occur at the start or end of your turn occur immediately when you use the delay action. I like that. I like that. Any beneficial effects that would end at any point during your turn also end. The GM might determine that other effects end when you delay as well. Essentially, you can't delay to avoid negative consequences, you baby. Alright, cool. Don't know why they had to put you baby in there, but that's fine. Let's see. Dropping prone requires an action. Oh my goodness. Okay. So in 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons, you can drop prone as a free action. But here in Pathfinder 2 land, it takes 1 Pac-Man out of your 3 Pac-Mans to fall prone. Okay. Good to know. Escape. You attempt to escape from being grabbed, immobilized, or restrained. Yeah, exactly, exactly. We delay being burned to death all the time because we play with Popcorn Initiative. In Popcorn Initiative, we make the rules about time and space. Let's see. Escape. You attempt to escape from being grabbed, immobilized, or restrained. Choose one creature, object, spell effect, hazard, or other impediment imposing any of those conditions on you. Notice it says 1. Attempt to check using your unarmed attack modifier against the DC of the effect. This is typically the athletics DC of a creature grabbing you, the thievery DC of a creature who ties you up. Hold on just a second, I need a drink. So thievery skill, that must be like sleight of hand or something. That's kind of cool. I wonder how versatile thievery skill is if it also covers tying someone up. The spell DC for a spell effect. Wait, what? You can just like physically fight your way out of a spell that's restraining you? Okay. Or the listed escape DC of an object, hazard, or other impediment. What is Popcorn Initiative? It's also called Active Initiative. I've got something on my YouTube's channel. Hold on. Let's see. Here, I'll throw it into chat. All right, so let's see. This is typically the DC, blah, 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 blah. Okay. You can attempt an acrobatics or athletics check instead of using your attack modifier if you choose. But this action still has the attack trait. Holy shit. Is Dom still in chat? I want to tell Dom about this immediately. For so long, we've lived with the uncertainty of whether or not an athletics check is an attack or it isn't an attack, and there's no one gives you a straight answer about it. And rather than give you a straight answer about it, one D&D just said you don't get to do athletics to grapple anymore. You have to use an attack. This is such a better solution to just be honest about it. Yes, it is an attack. You are attacking when you grapple someone. That's what do you think a grapple is? It's attacking someone. I like that a lot. Critical success. You get free and remove the grabbed, immobilized, and restrained conditions imposed by your chosen target, and then you can stride up to 5 feet. So striding is movement that does not provoke attacks of opportunity. That's a spoiler for you. That's amazing. Could you imagine in Dungeons and Dragons if you were grappled by a creature, you used your action to get free, and then you could move away from that creature because you critically did it? Hell, imagine this. It takes 1 of 3 actions to escape from a grapple. Now you have 2 other actions to work with. You didn't spend your entire turn just escaping only to get re-grappled again when the creature acts again. I just think it's really cool. And yes, ye old 5-foot step from 4th edition and also from 5th edition, yeah? There we go. No, sorry. From 3rd and 4th edition. They don't have a 5-foot step in 5th edition. So, success. You get free and remove the grabbed, immobilized, and restrained conditions imposed by your chosen target. Critical failure. You don't get free, and you can't attempt to escape again until your next turn. Oh, I really like that. That is really well done. If you're grappled by multiple creatures and critically escape one, you can still stride. Incorrect. Because if we go to stride, it says you can move up to your speed. But you wouldn't be able to move up to your speed because you would have a speed of 0 from the other effects. So no, you would not be able to critically escape from one grapple and stride away if you still had other grapples to deal with. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, you thought stride was just movement, not movement? Oh, I guess you're right. So why would you move 5 feet? Wouldn't that provoke an opportunity attack? Shit. Okay. Yeah. Dial it back. Dial it back. Dial it back. Okay. So, I guess you would not stride up to 5 feet unless you were confident that you weren't going to get grabbed again. That's not as good as I thought it was. It's still pretty good if you were grabbed, immobilized, or restrained by a magical effect or an environment effect that didn't have opportunity attacks. I feel like it's less good if you immediately then would provoke an opportunity attack. Okay, so a stride is not a 5-foot step. Repeat, a stride is not a 5-foot step. All right. Sorry, there's so much to learn. I'm trying my best here. All right, next up we've got fly. We're going to open that up. Fly, you move through the air up to your fly speed. Moving upward, straight, up, or diagonally uses the rules for moving through terrain. You can move straight down 10 feet for every 5 feet of movement you spend. Wait, you can move straight down 10 feet. So you go faster when you go down than when you go up. You don't just... Okay, yeah, that makes sense. If you fly to the ground, you don't take any falling damage. You can use an action to fly 0 feet and hover in place. If you're airborne at the end of your turn and don't use a fly action this round, you fall. Oh, that's pretty cool. Okay, that's pretty cool. You have to maintain flight with your action economy, or you fall. Okay, I like that. Let's see. Grab an edge. There's an actual just rule for this. This is a manipulate tag, or trait, excuse me. Grab an edge is a reaction. You fall from or past an edge or handhold. Okay. Requirements. Your hands are not tied behind your back or otherwise restrained. It doesn't say that your hands have to be free. So does that mean if I'm falling and I have like a weapon in each hand, I can still try to grab a ledge? It doesn't say that my hands have to be empty. It just says that they can't be restrained. When you fall off or past an edge or other handhold, you can try to grab it, potentially stopping your fall. You must succeed at a reflex save, usually at the climb DC. You grab the edge or handhold, you can then climb up using athletics. On a critical success, you grab the edge or handhold whether or not you have a free hand, typically by using a suitable held item to catch yourself. Catching a battle axe on a ledge, for example, you still take damage from the distance fallen so far, but you treat the fall as though it were 30 feet shorter. Okay. On a regular success, if you have at least one hand free, there it is. You grab the edge or handhold, stopping your fall. You still take damage from the distance fallen so far, but you treat the fall as though it were 20 feet shorter. If you have no hands free, you continue to fall as if you had failed the check. Okay, they thought of everything. Critical failure, you continue to fall, and if you fall in 20 feet or more before you use this reaction, you take 10 bludgeoning damage from the impact for every 20 feet fallen. Oh my god. Oh my god. So if you try to grab the wall, and how do they know how far you've fallen? I guess that's covered in other stuff. Wow, okay. That's a lot better than just being like, hey, Dungeon Master, can I use my reaction to grab that guy as he falls off the thing? Or can I use my reaction to grab the ledge? And yeah, I mean, it's just spelled out for you exactly what it does. All right, interact requires a Pac-Man. It is a manipulate trait. You use your hand or hands to manipulate an object or the terrain. Could there possibly be more to it than that? Let's see. You might have to attempt a skill check to determine if your interaction was a success. Okay. Then we've got leap. Uh-oh, Dom. Look at this. Jumping is an action. Oh, no. But we got 3 actions, so maybe it's not that bad. Let's see. If you take a you take a careful short jump. You can leap up to 10 feet horizontally if your speed is at least 15 feet, or up to 15 feet horizontally if your speed is at least 30 feet. You land in the space where your leap ends, meaning you can typically clear a 5-foot gap or a 10-foot gap if your speed is 30 feet or more. Oh, because they live in a 5-foot grid-based world. Okay. If you leap vertically, you can move up to 3 feet vertically and 5 feet horizontally onto an elevated surface. Jumping a great distance requires using the athletics skill. Okay. And it does not seem like you can just spend 3 action points to triple the effect of this. It sounds like you have to like jump and land, or leap and land, leap and land, leap and land. It's made by rules lawyers for better and worse. Yeah, I am definitely picking up on that. I can't wait for my players to absolutely own me and school me because I don't have a perfect memory of all of these crazy rules. Boy, howdy, am I looking forward to that. Gonna be a good time. So excited. All right, so mounting is a movement or a move trait. It requires 1 Pac-Man. You are adjacent to a creature that is at least 1 size larger than you and is willing to be your mount. Well, that's very, very broad. That's very broad. You move onto the creature and you ride it. If you're already mounted, you can instead use this action to dismount, moving off of the mount into a space adjacent to it. The end. Alright, that seems pretty simple. But you can essentially mount other people as long as they're bigger than you. Point out. This is an actual fucking action. Alright. Point out requires one Pac-Man. It is an auditory trait. It is a manipulate trait. It is a visual trait. A creature is undetected by one or more of your allies, but isn't undetected by you. You indicate a creature that you can see to one or more allies, gesturing in a direction and describing the distance verbally. That we usually just let people fucking cheat, do this for free, I guess, in Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know. That creature is hidden to your allies rather than undetected. So, okay. It makes sense. If we're tracking every second that passes in the fight, it makes sense. This works only for allies who can see you and are in a position where they could potentially detect the target. If your allies can't hear or understand you, they must succeed at a perception check against the creature's stealth DC, or they misunderstand and believe the target is in a different location. But I guess you could just keep shouting at them 2 more times because you have 3 actions per turn. Shit's wild. Okay. Let's see. Can we make it through all of these before time? Let's see. Raise your shield. Now, I do like this raise your shield action. You spend an action, you're wielding a shield, you raise it up. You position your shield to protect yourself. When you have raised a shield, you gain its listed circumstance bonus to AC. Your shield remains raised until the start of your next turn. That means that unless you're actively spending 33% of your action economy to use your shield, you don't actually benefit from your shield. Amazing. All right. Let's see. Release. So release is a free action. You release something you're holding in your hands. This might mean dropping an item, removing one hand from your weapon while continuing to hold it in another hand, releasing a rope, suspending a chandelier, performing a similar action. Unlike most manipulate actions, release does not trigger reactions that can be triggered by actions with the manipulate trait, such as attack of opportunity. Woo, baby. If you want to prepare to release something outside of your turn, use the ready activity. All right. If you want to prepare to release something outside of your turn, wow. So in the example of like falling down a cliff, you can't just say I drop what I'm holding so I could grab the ledge. Like you're just like, no, I can't. Sorry, I didn't ready my action to release this item. I guess I can't grab the wall. Oh well, I'm dead. Yikes. Okay. Let's see. Release. Seek. All right. So seek is concentration and secret. All right. You scan an area for signs of creatures or objects. If you're looking for creatures, choose an area you're scanning. If precision is necessary, the DM can have you select a 30-foot cone or a 15-foot burst within line of sight. For reference, a cone is triangle that go out from your character. A burst is an AoE centered on your character. You might take a penalty if you choose an area that's far away. If you're using Seek to search for objects, including secret doors and hazards, you search up to a 10-foot square adjacent to you. The GM might determine that you need to seek as an activity, taking more actions or even minutes or hours if you're searching a particularly cluttered area. The GM attempts a single secret perception check for you. I love that they just straight up say, we use secret rolls, bitch. For you, and compares the result to the stealth DC of any undetected or hidden creatures in the area, or the DC to detect each object in the area as determined by the GM or someone concealing the object. A creature you detect might remain hidden rather than becoming observed if you're using an imprecise sense or, oh my god, or if an effect such as invisibility prevents the subject from being observed. Okay. Critical success. If you were searching for creatures, any undetected or hidden creature you critically succeed against becomes observed by you. If you were searching for an object, you learn its location. Wait, you have to critically succeed to find an object you're searching for? What does a normal success get you? If you were searching for creatures, any undetected creatures you succeeded against becomes hidden from you. So what, you got to spend a second seek action? What? Okay. Sure. Let's see. And any hidden creature you succeeded against becomes observed by you. If you were searching for an object, you learn its location, or you get a clue to its whereabouts as determined by the GM. God damn. All right. That's rough. That's rough. All right, we're getting pretty close to the end. Let's see. Sense motive. You try to tell whether a creature's behavior is abnormal. Choose one creature and assess it for odd body language, signs of nervousness, and other indicators that it might be trying to deceive someone. The GM attempts a single secret perception check for you and compares it to the result of the deception DC of the creature, or the DC of a spell affecting the creature's mental state, or other appropriate DC determined by the GM. You typically can't try to sense the motive of the same creature again until the situation changes significantly. Alexa, stop the timer.
Timer canceled.
Okay. Critical success. You determine the creature's true intentions and get a solid idea of any mental magic affecting it. So you have to succeed by 10 or more to actually succeed. So regular success. You can tell whether the creature is behaving normally, but don't know its exact intentions or what magic might be affecting it. God damn. Failure, you detect what a deceptive creature wants you to believe. If they're not being deceptive, you believe that they're behaving normally. And if you get a critical fail, you get a false sense of the creature's intentions. Oh, did I skip readied? Fuck. I thought we already did readied. I thought we skipped ahead and did readied earlier. Alright, jumping back to readied. You prepare to use an action that will occur outside of your turn. Choose a single action or free action that you can use and designate a trigger. Your turn then ends. If the trigger you designated occurs before the start of your next turn, you can use the chosen action as a reaction, provided you still meet the requirement to use it. You can't ready a free action that already has its own trigger. If you have multiple attack penalty and your readied action is an attack action, your readied attack takes the multiple attack penalty you had at the time you used ready. This is one of the few times the multiple attack penalty applies when it's not your turn. I also want to point out that a readied, as Dom pointed out in chat, it takes 2 Pac-Mans. So to ready an action takes 2 actions. You still get your multiple attack penalty, and you burn your reaction. That's very expensive. That's very expensive. Oh my god, roll for drunkage. Hold on. You prepare to use an action. Choose a single action or free action that you can use. Designate a trigger. Your turn then ends. If the trigger you designated occurs... Oh my god! So it takes everything. Readying an action takes everything you have. Oh my god! That's crazy. Wow. Wow. That's pretty bad. Okay. Wow. I'm in shock at how bad that is. Alright. I can't imagine too many people are taking readied actions then. Alright, let's see. Speaking. Speaking doesn't require an action. That's nice. As long as you can act, you can also speak. You don't need to spend any type of action to speak, but because a round is only 6 seconds long, you can usually speak a single sentence or so per round. Special uses of speech, such as attempting a deception skill check to lie, require spending actions and following their own rules. All speech has the auditory trait. If you communicate in some way other than speech, other rules might apply. For instance, using sign language is a visual instead of an auditory. Oh, that's fair. Alright, standing up requires an action. I mean, okay. That's easy enough. Step. Alright. Step is the 5-foot step. Alright. Requirements for your speed. You may carefully move 5 feet. So why don't they give you step when you critically succeed from a grapple? Well, why? Who cares if you can move 5 feet? That's not... If you're going to get opportunity attacks, like, why is it a step? That's dumb. Alright. So the requirement for this is you spend 1 Pac-Man. It's a movement-based thing. You get your speed. Your speed needs to be at least 10 feet. You carefully move 5 feet. Unlike other types of movement, stepping doesn't trigger reactions, such as attacks of opportunity. That can be triggered by move actions or upon leaving or entering a square. You can't step in a difficult terrain, and you can't step using a speed other than your land speed. Oh, so you can't step while swimming, burrowing, or flying. Okay. Then we've got stride, which is like literally just movement, and apparently there's a lot to it. There's a whole thing about it on page 473. We got strike, which is to attack with a weapon. So strike takes 1 Pac-Man. It's considered to be an attack. You attack with a weapon you're wielding or with an unarmed attack, targeting one creature within your reach for a melee attack, or within range for a ranged attack. Roll the attack roll for the weapon or unarmed attack that you are using, and compare the result to the target's AC to determine the effect. See attack rolls and damage rolls for all those details. Critical success as success, but you deal double damage. Success, you deal damage according to the weapon or unarmed attack, including any modifiers. Alright, yeah, we already learned that from the first tutorial. Alright, and then the final one in basic bitch actions is take cover. Take cover. You are benefiting from cover. Are near a feature that allows you to take cover or are prone. Taking cover is not a free action. Taking cover is not just something you tell your DM that you're doing, and apparently taking cover is not something that just happens because you're next to the wall. You have to actively spend some of your action economy to take cover. You press yourself against a wall or duck behind an obstacle to take better advantage of cover. If you would have standard cover, you instead gain greater cover, which provides a +4 circumstances to AC. So, okay, maybe you do get standard cover by being behind something, but if you spend an action, it raises it up to +4. Okay, that makes sense. I feel like if I'm standing in the bushes or whatever, or if I'm standing like, around the corner, I should get the cover even if I don't. So like, it makes sense then that taking cover is used to like make the cover go even higher. Otherwise, you gain the benefits of standard cover, +2 circumstance bonus instead. This lasts until you move. Oh, thank you. Wow, 5 subs. Hell yeah. That's very generous. Thank you, Remy. Otherwise, you gain the benefits of standard cover, a +2 circumstance bonus instead. Let's see. Wow. Taking cover is very good. You also get the bonus to reflex against area effects and to stealth checks to hide, sneak, and avoid detection. This lasts until you move from your current space, use an action, become unconscious, or end this effect as a free action. Huh. Okay. That's pretty cool. So those are the basic actions of Pathfinder 2. We still have a ton of stuff to explore, but I feel like we covered a lot today. We covered all of like the broad stuff here, right? Of this simply rules. We got the basics down. And then we covered all of the basic actions. So at least we have a good I like it when we have a good foundation to build off of. So my goal is to spend some time every Tuesday night studying Pathfinder. If the mood strikes and, I have time to do so, I will throw extra, studying in there, but we will at least be doing this every Tuesday. We're not going to go too long. We're at about an hour and 5 minutes right now, so it's a good time to sort of call it. But we have a lot to cover. So next time we do this, we will go back to simply pathfinder2e.com and we will hit up the player's guide. And then that is going to tell us about character creation. And then we will look at, some of the character creation stuff like ancestries and backgrounds and whatnot, and take a look at that stuff. So. Attack of opportunity was not a basic action. It is not a basic action, which is interesting. I don't know where it lives, but it's not a basic action. I'm assuming that it is described somewhere else, and they simply say that as a reaction you can make a strike or something. That sounds about right. So anyways, now we have the basics down. Next time we'll learn even more about, making a character. I wanted to understand the basic actions and stuff first because this is like the building blocks of everything else. So now that we understand the symbols for the action economy and we have a better sense of what the action economy is worth, hopefully that helps everything else make a lot more sense as we dive into it. All right, cool. Well, quick announcements. Oh shit! Not everybody has opportunity attacks. Oh my god, my mind is being blown right now. Okay, wow. So there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn. Okay. I guess I should give a disclaimer at the beginning of this that, well, no, I did. I said I didn't read the book or anything. So I've watched a couple of videos and that's about it. So yeah, we'll continue this next time. We'll check out building a character and look into ancestries and see how those work, and that will probably take up our time. Did you ever hear about Ordum Paranormal? I have not heard about Ordum Paranormal at all. Pigs, I have not. Yeah. So we're gonna look into this some more. And let's see, quick announcements. Tonight, Dom Odyssey will be beginning their Cyberpunk 2020 tabletop game. If you are interested in checking out the Cyberpunk system, Dom's a great DM, and he works really hard on his game prep, and so it should be a pretty cool campaign if you want to check that out. And then tomorrow night, we've got Monster Hunter. Dungeons & Dragons. And then Thursday, we have Curse of Strahd Nightfall. Friday, DM Orpheus is going to continue Rime of the Frost Maiden. Saturday morning, I got Red Hand of Doom. Sunday morning, we got more Curse of Strahd with Daybreak. Sunday night, we've got Mythic Odyssey. And then Monday night, we've got Odyssey of the Dragon Lords. They are now level 18. So we got some level 18 Dungeons & Dragons to play next Monday. So, all right. Well, I will go ahead and take a note here to check out this Brazilian RPG that you mentioned, Pigs. Let's see, Ordum Paranormal. Here, I'll just add it to my notes over here. All right. Cool. So I'm going to go have some dinner and enjoy my night off because I'm not running or playing in a game tonight. I hope everybody has a good evening, and I will see you next time.